All right, Sports Talk Live colleague Paul Hamilton, also of WGR Sports Radio 550, covers the Buffalo Sabres for them. Dips his toe in the NFL coverage with the Buffalo Bills as well for CBS Sports Radio. But the focus here is hockey. And I guess, Paul, I'll start generally. Points in 7 of 8 games for the Sabres going into the All-Star break. They've climbed their way right to the cusp of wild card. They're in contention. They're a point behind Pittsburgh to start this whole thing. Could change as of tonight with the Islanders playing. But generally speaking, what's your take on this team as they emerge with 32 games left?
Yeah, I think we can finally say they're a good team. And I'm comfortable with sitting here saying they're a good hockey team. I really think they are. Are they there yet? No. Do they have a ways to go? Yes. But I still think they're so much better than even when Granato took over. You know, they're better than, as Kyle Oposo said earlier in the week last week, that it took them a while to find their game, to find their identity, but they found it now. And most games, Carolina game, no, but most games, they get to their identity, which is speed, get up the ice, put pressure on the other team, score goals. You know, they're not the leading scoring team in the league anymore, but they're still in the top 3 or 4 usually, depending on the night. And, put the pressure on the other team that way. So I'm very comfortable saying the Buffalo, and I haven't said it in 10 years, 11. Mm-hmm. The Buffalo Sabres, I think, are a good team.
All right, so, they're going with youth. They've made that perfectly clear, willing to deal with the growing pains and the inconsistency that we have seen and probably still will see before the end of the season. But here they are in contention. How valuable would playoff experience be for a lot of these kids?
It would be valuable, but I think it would be also valuable to lead up to these 30 games, or 32, however many it is, of getting there. I mean, these are the guys that got them back into contention when they did find their identity, and they pulled a goaltender up out of Rochester because of injury, and all of a sudden, now they are back in contention. So a lot of fans will still ask, well, shouldn't they go get a goaltender? Not in my opinion. No. Let Luukkonen finish what he started here. And I think in February, March, and April, this is also excellent experience for him and Quinn and Peterka and Krebs and Cousins. And just go down the line. We can just go right down the line. Even Thompson and Dahlin. This is great experience for them. Win or lose, get in or don't get in. Give them the opportunity to get in that race and participate in that race and know what that's about. And I think that's also very important for them.
So with all that in mind, what move do you make or not make at the trade deadline on March the 3rd?
If Adams did nothing, I would not criticize it because he would be saying, I like our team and I want them to get the experience that they're getting. And so far, so good. They're ahead of schedule right now. I don't know if anybody thought they'd be this close in February, and they are. So they're ahead of schedule right now. I'm not saying that's what he's going to do. He might make a move for a depth defenseman or something like that, but don't expect a blockbuster. We've talked about San Jose, Meyer, but he's just basically just asked the question, what would it cost, that type of thing. They're not in heavy negotiation. That doesn't mean they can't in the next month or so. I wouldn't criticize the move if they paid the right price for him. Then they would probably have to sign him. It's a difference signing a 26-year-old than signing a 28-year-old like the Islanders did with Horvat. But that doesn't have to be done. I would not criticize if he just decided, I'm going to let these kids, they got us here to the point we are right now, and I'm going to let them try to finish the job.
He's been pretty open about the fact, and who knows, he's not going to give you his speed, not going to negotiate through the media or in public, but Kevin Adams has been very clear about the fact that they're going to take their time with this, that this is a process, that they're committed to it, and they're not going to veer all that far from it. And I think that probably speaks to the philosophy they'll take as March 3rd approaches.
He said they are not going to speed up the process. He has said that many, many times. I don't think this has changed his mind because I think he likes what he's seen from his team. And I just don't see him making a deal to speed the process up. If it's a deal that makes sense, that's different. Mm-hmm. But I don't see him making a deal to make a deal to satisfy fans or to speed up the process because he doesn't believe in that. He's trying to make sure this never happens again, that they go 10, 11 years without the playoffs. That's what he's trying to do here, not just make the playoffs this year.
Right. Because you get into the playoffs this year, you make a deal that somewhat mortgages your future. You get in, you lose in the first round or whatever, when your goal is to be there and sustain it over the long haul, which Kevin Adams has been very clear about the fact. And you look at the way they've structured their roster and brought these kids along and where they're at, speaks to the long-term goal as opposed to something short-term to satisfy, a fan base, albeit, and understandably so, has been through an 11-year playoff drought here. I don't want to minimize that, the frustration of the fans, but there is a larger goal and a larger focus.
Tim Murray did that. It didn't work. He went out and got O'Reilly, went out and got Evander Kane, overpaid for everybody, basically emptied out their prospects to get those players. What did it get them? It didn't work.
All right, Paul Hamilton, you can hear him on WGR Sports Radio 550. Read him at WGR550.com. You can read him at WGRZ.com with us. And watch him every Monday night at 7:30 here on Sports Talk Live Buffalo.